And this is one of the beauties of the metric system, is going back and forth between the prefixes basically has us just moving the decimal point because everybody's based upon a power of 10. So just as a reminder, from your base unit to go to larger powers of 10 or to bigger lengths, you would have deca or DA, hecto H, kilo K, mega capital M, giga capital G, tera capital T. Okay. Where deca is 10 to the first power, hecto is 10 squared, and 10 cubed. So notice right here we're only going up by 1, and then after kilo or 10 cubed, the next prefixes are always increased by a multiple of 3. To go to smaller units from your base, you would have deci, D, centi, C, milli, M, micro, which we use that Greek symbol for mu, but we would verbally say that is micro, nano, which is lowercase n, and pico, which is lowercase p. Again, going down to these smaller units, we're always going to kind of go by an exponent of 1. So deci would be tenths of your base unit, centi would be hundredths of your base unit, and milli would be thousandths of your base unit. But then after that, you can see the exponents always increase by a multiple of 3. Being able to remember these prefixes order and their corresponding symbols is important. So there are some mnemonic devices that can be used to help us remember it. Now, a mnemonic device is just a memory device or a learning aid to help us remember things. And in this case, it would be the prefixes in the metric system. Now, I've heard a lot of different ways to remember this over the years. I just included a couple of them here. You don't necessarily need to remember all of these. I just thought a couple of them were fun. And I wanted to show you how they work. So one of the more commonly ones that I've heard is King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. And you can either, even afterwards, after chocolate milk, you can say moo, okay, for a cow. And how that works is if we take the first letter in these words, so King, K, Henry, H, died, that would be the prefix for DA. By is your base. Drinking is D. Chocolate, C, milk, M, and if you want to throw mu in there, that would be for the Greek letter mu. So there's your kilo, hecto, deca, base, deci, centi, milli, micro. Another one that has the exact same prefixes would be kids have dreams, but dreams cost money, moolah. All right, so the moolah just being another way to say money. So again, you've got kilo, hecto, deca, base, deci, centi, milli, and if you wanted to, you could get in there with the micro. Sometimes on these ones, depending on the level that you're learning, sometimes these aren't included. To go as fine down is the micro or the 10 to the 6th power. So all of these then would be going between from your base up to the exponent of 3 bigger, and then the exponent of 3 smaller, or the negative 3. Or if you wanted to cut out that last word, okay, depending on how much you need to remember. All right, here's another one. Kings hate dragons because dragons can't make money. So you've got your kilo, hecto, deca, base, deci, centi, milli, and then micro. The micro on these ones is always obviously a little bit weird because the symbol for micro is not M because it's already being used. We're using that Greek letter. Now, if you wanted to get into some of the larger units, you can expand these. So one of the expansions I've seen is Mighty King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk until 9 p.m. All right, so this one would expand out to mega, and then kilo, hecto, deca, base, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano, pico. Okay, so this one helps you remember kind of those smaller units and then going all the way up to the large unit of mega. To remember some of the other bigger units, the expansion I've seen is the great man, King Henry's daughter Beth, drinks cold milk until 9 p.m. So there's your tera, giga, mega, kilo, hecto, deca, base, deci, centi, milli, micro, and that one's kind of a goof one you can see on these ones. For the micro, that one is grabbing a word that is very similar to the symbol itself, right? That mu symbol kind of looks like a U. And then nano, pico. And sometimes in certain fields, like for instance in the medical fields, they just really need to know what those special prefixes are every time they jump a power of 3 and that new special prefix is introduced. So one of the ways I've seen to remember that one is terribly gigantic monsters killed 1 million men napping peacefully. Okay, so this one would be tera, or 10 to the 12th power. Gigantic would be giga, or 10 to the 9th power. Monsters for mega, M, which would be 10 to the 3rd power. Oh, sorry about that. It's 10 to the 6th power, because K is kilo, and that's your 10 to the 3rd power. And then 10 to the 1st power, 10 to the 0th power is your 1 or your base. Okay, so this is where we meet the base. And then going down on the smaller side, 10 to the negative 3rd power is your milli. 10 to the negative 6th power is your micro. 10 to the negative 9th power is your nano. And 10 to the negative 12th power is your pico. Okay, so this one helps you remember the prefixes just if you just want to jump on the powers of 3. And because all of the prefixes are just moving by powers of 3, this is a kind of a helpful chart where it's laid out horizontally. So I know maybe the writing is a little bit small, but we want to kind of see from our base right here. And again, filling out our prefixes, mega, which should be capital M, and then kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano, and pico. So you can see that you've got the kind of the fine prefixes from your base, 1, 2, 3 high and 1, 2, 3 low. And then we skip prefixes at 4 and 5. You get your next prefix once you get to 6. And then again, the next prefix every time you jump over 3 spots. So then I only have this on the smaller side, but then you got your 10 to the negative 9th and negative 12th power. And by the way, I remember the prefixes for the deca and deci because when you put them together, you spell dad. Okay, so that's how I remember that deca is DA and deci is D around your base.